Hey, Bill. Ryan Miller from KSL.com. I'm just curious, do you have any expectations leading into this season?
Well, I think as a GM, you always have expectations. You're really excited about the season, and we've got a mixture of young guys with some a little bit older guys, and it's always interesting how it comes together. When you build it kind of on paper and then see it come to life. We've known those players for a number of years. I think there are expectations, but I would say they're reasonable expectations. It's a very young group. We're in the fourth year of the rebuild. Just off statistics, most teams don't, overachieve in the fourth year. There's still a young process that our guys have to go through and learn a little bit of the experience. But what I can tell you is it's an exciting team. They're all bought in on the process. They're going to come every day and work hard. And there's some talent on the ice. And it's just going to take some time over the years to get that talent out to its full potential.
Belle Fraser, Salt Lake Tribune. Just what do you expect from Logan Cooley in his sophomore season, and what have you heard about his off-season training this summer?
Well, Logan's pretty diligent. He's an incredible young man where he goes home in the summer and he picks on things to work on and just goes to work. He's a worker. That's what he is. He's obsessed with the game. It's one of the reasons that we liked him so much in the draft. Expectations for the season, I think, he's got to earn, the right, to play in top moments. I think that's the one thing that you probably can touch base with the coach afterwards, but he's got to earn that trust through coach. And, I think with the expectations for him is somebody that can add in the offense, really push the pace and help our team be unique in the sense of his speed. He pushes somewhere close to like 22 to 23 miles an hour on the ice. He's probably one of the faster players and might be the fastest at one time. That gives us a little bit of an identity. But as a young player and a centerman is one of the toughest jobs in the National Hockey League because you have to play at both ends and you've got to cover ground. So I think he did a great job last year coming in and really staying with the program. One of the things I loved about his season last year was, he got better at the end, right? He just kept getting better, and then at the end he had his best hockey. And you love to see that because a lot of times the young players come in for their first rookie season and they start off great and then they go that way. And he was the opposite, slowly but slowly. He got better and better, and that was a pleasure. We're hoping for the same progress this year.
Matt Coma, NHL.com. Bill, just obviously this training camp is very special, being the first one here in Utah. But from just a GM standpoint, what are some of your goals and expectations for these guys just from a training camp standpoint?
Well, every year you come in and try to make a step, and this group's young. And that's our big thing is, I think for us is to dig into the process. Really, it's practice, it's preparation, it's lifting weights, it's working on the skill, dig into the process, perfect that every day, win the day. That's one of our expectations as a group. I think there's a commitment to play for the team. I think that is one of our expectations where we expect to play hard every single moment, every single game, and outwork teams. There's expectation of commitment to play for the team, and that's as your team evolves. And I talked a little bit about it in our meeting. It's like, sometimes they're not. As you go through and you're a young team, there's you go through a losing streak and all of a sudden you've got their attention and now they're a little bit more committed to playing in that situation and doing whatever it takes to win. But the NHL is unkind in that we can't wait around for 5 games to get everybody on the same page because it's a losing streak. We want to make sure that we off the hop get our players' attention and get them into that good habits of playing for the team and being committed 24/7.
Cole Bagley, KSL Sports. Just curious if TJ Ginla will be a full participant in training camp, and then just to follow up on that, what do you expect from some of these young guys like TJ and Cole and Mav as they go up against premier NHL talent?
That's a great question. First on TJ, it's day-to-day for him. He's made some progress, getting a little bit better. We're hoping to see him, at the end there. Hopefully he can heal up and hopefully get in an exhibition game if possible. But the expectations are for those guys, come to camp. You should be excited and come in here and try and make our team. Listen, there's opportunity. There's a lot of veterans in that room that came into camp as rookies with their Gunther and Cooley and Veg Malka. They all made the team. So we don't want them to lose the dream. As I told our players, be especially the rookie players, be extremely respectful to the veterans. But when you come on that ice, you come to compete. You compete your butt off from the time you enter camp to the time you leave competing for a job. And there's always opportunity for young players to walk in and take a job.
Bill Armstrong, Brogan Houston here from Deseret News. I'm wondering about the role of the veterans on the team. You brought in Cole and Sergachev and Bortuzzo and all these other guys. What do you see their role being in this? Should we still call it a rebuild or whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean, you like to add those guys. At different points in the rebuild, we also had Andrew Ladd and Beagle, and some guys that had won some championships before when we first started this. And they really add in a layer for coach and players of someone that have championship pedigree. And they know how to carry themselves in the good times and the bad, and they know how to get down to the process every single day and work hard at it. And I think with the guys that we've added, the Coles of the world and the Stenlunds, and the Bortuzzos, and Sergachev, they've won championships before, and they want to come in here and have that same success, and they're going to bring a little bit of their knowledge and pass along to our guys. And it's awesome, Coach lives with them every day. I see him from up top, but when you're around those guys in that locker room, you get inspired. And, we talk about the confidence comes from a source. It's a source of your players that have already won championships and they're coming in here. And that gives our players around them confidence.
Hi, Bill. Lindsay Arts from KSL TV, or local news as opposed to sports. But we talked to Chris just about the team name. Of course, that's something fans are really interested in. He talked a little bit about the fan engagement in the naming of the team.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that, and can you give us a timeline of when a decision is coming?
That's above my pay grade, and I will defer to Chris on that. I will tell you this, and what I've said from the get-go is that I love the way they've done it, because it gives the fans, the kids that are 8 years old, a chance to vote online for the name of the team, and I love that. I also love, to be honest with you, we played in the rookie tournament. We put our white jerseys on. There's a simplicity with Utah across the front, and it was spectacular for us to put that jersey on. It meant a lot for our players to be the first to do that and go to that rookie tournament, but just the simplicity of the jersey, but the colors are spectacular for us. I can't tell you, just the way it is almost perfect for us, so.
I was just curious if you could kind of speak to the position that this club is in, based off what you guys have done over the last few years and acquiring so many prospects, draft picks, but also, being able to make acquisitions like Sergachev and some of these other guys, just to give fans an idea of where this team is and what they can expect moving forward.
Well, I'm a little biased about the way it's built, but I would say that, out of all the teams, the 32 teams, we might be in the best shape as an organization. We don't really have any bad contracts. We've got cap room to add. We've got a boatload of picks, and we've got a boatload of prospects that are knocking on the door to become NHL players. So our goal is, behind the scenes, is what we work at a lot, especially when we're here, is, I call it building the championship organization behind the scenes, the machine, of teaching and growing your people behind the scenes, from the amateur scouts to the pro scouts to the development scouts, making sure that we're the fine-tuned machine behind the scenes. There's one thing with coach runs his, practices and how accurate he is and gets his players, but on the other side of that, there's a different animal, and that's trying to be a great championship organization behind the scenes and making sure that we're the most prepared organization. We've invested a lot of money. We probably have the largest development staff in the National Hockey League, the analytic department, growing that, making it better every day. So there's a lot of things on the hockey ops side that we're constantly pushing. As you'll hear Coach talk about what he wants players to, the improvement that he wants to make every day. We're no different on the hockey ops. We're pushing from the backside to make this a championship organization from the backside. And the philosophy is, if we can become an elite organization on the backside, it will force us to become an elite organization on the ice.
Is there any intention of still acquiring bad contracts and adding picks, or have you guys said we've got enough picks already?
Well, you can never have enough picks, but we're past that point at this stage. We're interested in building upon what we have and moving forward with what we can do. We went through that time. I think there's a psychological part, to be honest, with being a player and seeing your team kind of taken apart. Our guys have been through that before. We want to move forward. We want to push. I think there's opportunity through the course of the year that every day we wake up is trying to add in and make us a better team, maybe through trade, maybe through waivers, maybe it's through bringing somebody up through the minors. But behind the scenes, we're going to push to become a better team every day.
Andrew Larson, Salt Lake Tribune.
Yeah.
When you drafted Teej, you kind of said, hey, we have a lot of 20 goal scorers. We're hoping you're a 50 goal scorer. I'm curious, do you see a potential for Logan or Cooley or a Gunther to kind of reach those heights? And then I guess also, what are kind of some of the development points you hope from those guys you already have, on the roster for a while to get to a better place?
Yeah, I think those guys really work at their game. We're very fortunate as an organization to have drafted people that are obsessed with improvement and getting better. So when they go home in the summer, they're working on their shot. They're trying to, become better and better. Statistically, I really hope that they have great years. But more importantly, I hope as a team we have a great year. That's the most important thing. I hope they can add in to us becoming a better team. That would be success for both of them. So, if they go out and get 100 points each and they have great years and we're a terrible team, that's not success as a franchise. So I think they'll make those steps naturally. They're pretty driven kids. They want to achieve, they want to get into there, but they also still have to make that commitment as part of success to be committed to our team and the commitment to pay a price to win.
Bill, Alex Tumulp here from the Hockey News. Good to be with you this morning. I asked Chris this question earlier about how deep the prospect pool is, and obviously there were a lot of standout performances at rookie camp. I mean, Mav, Julian, Owen. There were a lot of players that did really, really well at rookie camp. Can you just talk about how excited you are for the potential that this prospect pool has, and how much having a deep prospect pool means for this franchise going forward?
Well, I think it's great. It gets you excited when you go to rookie camp and you go through the draft process. They show up, you see them in development camp, and then they come back for rookie camp, and you see them how committed they are to you and the talent on the ice. Sometimes it's the size with Mav and the mobility. You get extremely excited. And most of all, they fight with I call it the Utah fight in them. They're in. They're never going to give up, and they're fighting for the organization. We're blessed, I think, to have that amount of picks, that amount of prospects. It gives us an advantage, whether through trade or eventually there'll be new guys that we need to come in and add in, whether it be depth or be stars in our team. And I think there's a little bit of everything in our prospect pool. So for us, like I said, we're a little bit biased, but I think we're one of the best organizations behind the scenes because of all the different features of having, cap space and good young players in the lineup, but at the same time as prospects coming in, still more picks to go.
Bill, Dino Costa, SLC Sports Radio. A lot of young talent. We've seen it
Yes.
on the ice, training camp over at the Oval, and then in some of the rookie games that were just concluded over the weekend. You talked with me at the Oval the other day about how you want players to be relentless on the puck and how that this organization really is in a transition period in terms of this still being a work in progress.
Yeah.
Defensively, a big makeover defensively coming into the season. One of the things that I don't think has been mentioned too much is I think you've got 6 goaltenders on the roster right now going into camp. Positionally, from that standpoint, can you talk about the goaltending situation at the big league level and even down further through the minor league level, what you expect to see as far as goaltenders coming up here?
Yeah, up top, I'm comfortable with our goaltenders. I think they've done a good job. Ingram is obviously pushed, and we'll see how his season goes. But he showed great signs last year where he had games, and also the year before where it helped us as a team to look around and go, hey, this guy has a chance to be a starter. Now he's got to go out there and earn that right, but he's got a chance to kind of solidify our franchise and kind of take hold of it and run with it. So, and the same thing with Veggie. He's knocking at the door too. So I think with Veg, he came into the league. It was a tough transition because we were in the middle of a rebuild. There's some games that he was, probably the best goaltender in the league at nights, and then other nights, he got bombarded. Now he's got to find a consistency for us, be able to be that guy that goes in the net, gets us the win. and play consistent hockey. So I think there's a good competition there on who will take over. I think it's a healthy competition. They both work extremely hard at the position. I think we're in good shape, so that will play itself out. It's not that hard. You just got to stop the little black thing, you know. And then down below, you know, we've got a couple goaltenders that will push at some point in time to come up. And then we've got Harabel back in junior. So we've got a good mix of goaltenders. I believe we have some depth in case somebody goes down. But goaltending is probably one of the most important areas of the organization, and I like where we are with our two guys up top.
Mark Anderson, AP. This might be a little speculative, but if you find yourself in playoff contention at the trade deadline, can you see yourself being buyers?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we're going to worry about the process day to day. We're going to dig in, and we'll deal with that at that point in time. The only thing I would tell you is we have assets. So, and we haven't been afraid in the past to add, you know, better players, and you could see that this summer. So, you know, let's go day by day and win the day. And if that moment presents itself, we do have the assets to make things happen.
Bill, most of the offseason was centered on the defense and adding members to your D-line.
Yeah.
Now that the season's approaching and the camp is going, can you kind of assess your blue line and where you see your strengths and some things that you could improve on the blue line?
Well, I think in anything there's a little bit of evolution as the team comes in and they start to play. It takes you a while to feel comfortable with how things go. And that's up front, that's in goal. It plays itself out. And so we're still going to evaluate. It's still young. Obviously, the guys haven't got on the ice yet. So we kind of see what we want to have, see how the young kids, have they made some steps? Have they gotten better? Is there somebody that we overlooked that might be better than we think? So that's why we play exhibition games. That's why we go into the season and get going. But I think, you know, you can see the building blocks that we've added with the Marinos and Sergachev and Durzees of the world. And now there's some really good D back there that have a chance to kind of filter in. But, you know, that will play itself out, and they'll earn that role.
Hey, Bill. Matt McConnell in the back here.
Yeah.
Mikhail Sergachev in Tampa played, obviously, with Victor Hedman quite a bit. Victor, you know, he was the number 2 guy there, but when Victor went out, it seemed as if Mikhail's play got even higher. So he was the guy, right? Probably the guy here on that back end as well. Do you expect that type of, I don't want to call it an evolution, but do you expect that type of a mentality for him once again?
Well, I think that's something he wants. I think he wants to become a number 1 defenseman. Obviously, you got to be able to handle the minutes. Those guys play huge minutes in every situation that occurs for them. Power play, PK, up by a goal, down by a goal. Those guys are your guys. Not everybody can play those huge minutes, and then you got to play back-to-back nights going in. So he's certainly going to get an opportunity to do that. I think that's what he wants. We'll see how it progresses. We'll see how everybody plays around him, and we'll go from there. But he does have the potential.
We spoke with Chris about that you guys are discussing internally naming a captain. I'm just curious, what are you guys looking for before you're ready to put a C on somebody's sweater?
It's a good question. Being a captain is really, they deal with management on a fair basis, but they deal with coach a lot, And so what we're looking for is a leader that can represent the guys and get in there and really work with coach to make sure that his message is being heard in different ways. And then also have that ability to lead, And there's different ways you can lead, but to lead at the end of the day, and lead through the good times and lead through the bad times. And ultimately, we're working through that process. I think for us, there's nothing worse, I think, if you go down the road and you name somebody and then you're not happy with them 6 months later and you have to undo that. It usually doesn't work out very well. So we're going to take our time, and when we get to that point, we'll name the captain. But it'll be done through due diligence, and our answers will be satisfied.
We have time for one more question.
Yeah, Jeff Rednier with Fox 13. I want to ask you about the ownership group. It wasn't too long ago we were in this room with Ryan Smith and Ashley talking about bringing this club here. They said they were all in. Have you felt that, and how has that helped you build this hockey team?
Well, they are all in. We've been amazed on this side of it. So many great people that don't get to stand up in front of the microphone, that do the little work behind the scenes, that have enabled us to move all the way here, build buildings. Like the infrastructure that they had for SEG was amazing, and how they got that accomplished, and all the people behind the scenes that worked due diligent to build dressing rooms here, over at the Oval, and now out at Southtown. Like I can't tell you, like, being scared from the first day we arrived to where we are now, and to see the way that they worked and the support that they've given us. I'll tell you a thought I had the other day as I walked through the dressing room, and I know this is going to sound bad, but I'm going to say it anyways. I was like, wow, we're really an NHL team. This dressing room is absolutely spectacular. Like they had not only did they get it done, but they got it done in a spectacular fashion. And there's so many people behind the scenes that I can't tell you that just crushed it. That work night and day to make this happen, and it looks like it's all pulled off so easy, like everything just magically appeared. We are grateful. I can't tell you how grateful we are on the hockey side about the people that we've been able to work with, and from SEG and Ryan and Ashley to getting it done. I mean, at the end of the day, they get it done, and it's been unbelievable to work. And I think that excitement's going to roll right into opening night for us. And Chris is guaranteed it to be snow that day, I guess. So we're even more excited to see what that is.
The last time we were together was the day of our development game in June, or I guess it was early July, and what a whirlwind to get here to September 18th, our first day of training camp, and really officially kick off our inaugural season for Utah Hockey Club. Interestingly, when I was speaking to the players this morning, it dawned on me that it's actually 5 months to the day that Ryan and Ashley Smith and myself sat in a room in Arizona with all of the players and staff to tell them that we had acquired an NHL franchise for Utah and that they were all going to be a part of it. And we've come a long way in 5 months. The people in that room that day didn't choose their circumstances, but they certainly chose their attitude. And in our experience as an organization, it's been nothing but positivity, enthusiasm, and an incredible desire to do whatever it takes to make this a successful first season as a franchise. Couldn't be more grateful to our entire organization for all the hard work that's gone into preparing this team for its inaugural season, and finds ourselves here today. So in that time, what have we been up to in the last 5 months? Well, we've built a practice facility from the ground up inside the Olympic Oval with our great partners there. We've retrofitted the ice there to make an NHL quality practice surface for our players. We've launched a team and our colors. We've designed and released a jersey. We've conducted our first draft in franchise history. We've signed our first free agents in franchise history. We've made trades to bolster the organization. We've moved an entire hockey operation from Arizona to Utah. We've started a multi-year renovation here at Delta Center, which will make this a world-class NHL arena, starting with the locker room that we've built for our players this offseason, which we think is going to be among the best in the National Hockey League, and that we look forward to taking everybody through when it's finished so that you can see it for yourselves. We've just gone through our first rookie tournament and had our rookie class debut our home and away jerseys at the Rookie Face-Off in Los Angeles. And yesterday, I see Lisa from our marketing team in the room. Our marketing and content team executed an unbelievable first content and signing day with our players to really start to establish our connection with our fans and the community. But all of this really started with the welcome event back in April here at the Delta Center. It really set the tone and the energy and momentum that was necessary to get all of those things done in the last 5 months. And there's been many more things accomplished than the ones I took the time to mention. And as the president of the organization, I have the benefit of getting to sit up here and tell you all of the things we've accomplished in the last 5 months. But the reality is, I, like everybody in this organization, is the beneficiary of selfless sacrifice and hard work by everybody pulling on the rope together to get us to this point. So I want to say thank you to everyone in our organization, everyone in the Jazz organization, across SEG. Everybody in the community has wholeheartedly embraced this organization since its inception and it was announced. All of you in this room for covering the team so positively and building the enthusiasm for this new professional sports franchise in Utah. We couldn't be more excited to sit here before you today and start our first season. Thanks, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Chris. We'll now open the floor for questions.
Hey, Ryan Miller from KSL.com. I'm just curious, you've named a lot of things you guys are doing. Do you have, I guess, the state of the name contest? Like, what's the kind of the process for that?
Yeah, I knew that was probably going to be the first question. So, we've, from day one, Ryan has stated we really want the fan base and the community to be part of building the identity of this team. So through the input of our fans, using the surveys that we've conducted, we certainly have been able to take a firm understanding of the sentiment and what our fan base would like us to be called. You can imagine it's a complicated process from a legal and trademarking and intellectual property perspective, and so we're in that process now of determining what is achievable in that realm. It's been very clear to us what our fans would like us to be called, and so now it's a matter of trying to explore exhaustively all avenues to try to deliver that to our fans. I'm not in a position or prepared to tell you what that is today, but as we go through that process, we'll have more to say about it for sure.
Cole Bagley with KSL Sports. Just curious, what would make this inaugural season a success for this organization?
I think, that's a great question, Cole. On the ice, we obviously want to be getting better every single day, and we want to be playing meaningful games down the stretch. We want to give our fans an unbelievable experience watching NHL hockey for the first time, and a team on the ice that leaves it all on the ice. Maximum effort every night, as we've stated and talked about before. I think a successful season for the organization is establishing a real connection with the community, that we have fans leaving this building and interacting with our players and staff in the community, having had a really positive experience, that we're making them feel inspired, that we're making them feel good about themselves, and that we're aspiring them to chase their dreams in their own respective lives. That's the community asset that we are trying to create here, that vehicle to inspire this community and help to unlock the full potential of Utah through professional sports and its newest NHL franchise.
Andy Larson, Salt Lake Tribune. You kind of listed the items you guys have done over the last 5 months to get this ready. What are some of the things you guys still have to do over the next few weeks as we lead into regular season, and I guess in the months to come after that, some of the checklist items you guys still have to accomplish?
Yeah, so the list grows every day. Every day we, under the circumstances that we found ourselves right from the jump, usually this process is a 2 to 3 year process to stand up a professional team, and there's certainly a reason for that, including the naming question that we talked about earlier, and building the brand identity of the team. We've obviously still got some finishing touches to make at the Oval, but we've more or less moved in there completely. As we announced a few weeks ago, we broke ground at Southtown, so we're starting that process of finalizing the designs. Jim Olson, our president of the Jazz, is leading that project on our behalf and doing an outstanding job to set that direction so that we can be in there on schedule in September of 2025. So that's a big priority for us right now, because we've broken ground, but we really got to dig in and finalize the plans for that facility. The focus right now is really on the ice for the next few weeks. It's making sure we're ready, we're healthy, and we're ready to go as a team to start off on the right foot on October the 8th against Chicago. That we set the tone right from the jump this season to show our fans the type of team that we're going to be. We're going to be fast, talented, competitive, resilient group that wants to proudly wear Utah on its chest and show the fans in the community here what they should be excited about.
Belle Fraser, Salt Lake Tribune. Just what's the biggest thing you're looking from the guys on the ice during training camp, and the expectation for where you guys reach in the regular season this year?
Yeah, Bill, I think, in training camp, we want our guys to compete hard, right? Every day, push the level every single day at camp, challenge each other, and bring the best through the preseason schedule and every day at camp to make sure that we're prepared for that first game against Chicago. We want them to come together as a group. That's a really important part of training camp, is obviously we want this group to come together and to bond. We've brought in a number of new players. We've signed some additional players. And so there's an element of that that's really important, as well as this group gelling and coming together through training camp and getting ready for the season.
Dino Costa, Salt Lake City Sports Radio. I know that there's been a lot of talk about the renovation within this building, and I've heard things about lowering or raising the floor to accommodate, not have so many obstructed seats to make the entire arena be able to see the action. Can you talk a little bit about that? And also, will there be eventually renderings released in regard to what the arena is going to look like eventually?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. So we've definitely explored that possibility as we look at the overall plans for how to improve the building over time. The possibility of raising the floor would address some of the issues with respect to some of the existing partial or limited view seats that we have in the building. We haven't finalized our decision in that regard. It's an ongoing process, and yes, we will absolutely communicate what our final plans are for the building as we make them. But at the moment, you can understand and expect it's a complicated endeavor to do what we're trying to do in this building and still preserve the integrity of not only the fan experience for the Utah Jazz, but then ultimately create the best NHL hockey experience as well for fans. So I think we're going to take a very deliberate and meticulous and patient approach to making sure that we do this the right way in the shortest amount of time, so that it's the least disruptive to our fans coming through the building.
Chris, Brogan Houston from Deseret News. Do you have anything set for opening night or for the rest of the season in terms of in-game experience to kind of hook the fans and get them excited?
It's so our marketing team is here, so I got to be careful what I give away. But what I would tell you, as something I shared similarly at a function last night, is that obviously it snowed in the mountains in the last 24 hours. As we've all come to appreciate the beauty of that, driving in here today. But what I would say is, if it hasn't already snowed in the valley before October 8th, there's a chance that the first snowfall may occur here inside the Delta Center.
Belle Fraser, Salt Lake Tribune. Just how do you think the roster dynamic has and will change with the more veteran acquisitions in the offseason, Sergachev, Cole, Marino, to kind of blend with the younger guys that are returning?
Yeah, Belle, and certainly, Bill Armstrong and Andre will have more to say on this in their availability. But, what we've really tried to do is add a winning culture and winning mentality to our organization every step of the way, right? That we're going to build this culture of winning together our way. And so you've got to bring people into the organization, continue to bring people into the organization that have that experience of being part of winning teams and winning championships. And I think Bill and his staff have done an unbelievable job this offseason of adding those complementary pieces. Obviously, an elite player in Sergachev in particular. But what we've also been able to do is allow our existing group and our young players to take a step forward this season, right? So we've added that experience and improved a culture of winning, but also given our young players an opportunity to take the next step. And I think that's as an organization what we want to see. We want to see our group get better every single day, and we want to see those results translate on the ice.
I'm just curious, are you guys in the process of naming a captain? And if so, do you have a timestamp on when that might be?
So no timestamp on when that might be. It's an ongoing conversation inside the organization, not something we're prepared to give any indication on today. But it's definitely a dialogue that we're having internally inside hockey operations and also with our coaching staff about the best direction for the team.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio. I know that I heard Bill around the time of the draft talk about all the rebuilding this franchise has done over the last few years. And I wanted to know, with all of that rebuilding, new free agent acquisitions, do you guys have an expectation that we could be hosting playoff hockey come the end of the season here, the first season of Utah?
So I don't think that's our expectation, but we expect to compete every single game, right? We expect to get better as the season goes on and to put ourselves in a position to be in the mix at the end of the season, challenging for one of those final playoff spots, playing meaningful games down the stretch, as we like to say. Maybe there is some type of additional energy that our players can draft on, being the circumstances that they are for this season and being in a new market and wanting to put on a great show for the new fans here. But our expectations going into the season are for this team to continue to improve. We've talked about being in a rebuild. We've talked about being about 40% of the way through that process. And so that's really the objective for this season, is to continue to advance through that rebuild to ultimately where we want to get to, which is a team that competes year in and year out for the Stanley Cup.
Chris, I'd like to know about the AHL plans. So Alex Morella has talked about moving the Roadrunners to maybe Reno or somewhere else. Do you guys have any say in what happens with that team? And if so, where would you guys put it?
So the Morellas are the owners of the Tucson Roadrunners. We have a multi-year affiliation agreement with that club to be our AHL affiliate, and it's been a good working relationship in the last 5 months in our experience. So we have no reason to believe that won't continue to be a good relationship and a great place for our players to develop. Our assistant general manager, John Ferguson, oversees our American League team, and so whether they're in Tucson or Reno or anywhere else, we know that our players are going to continue to develop and be resources available to our NHL club when we need them.
Hi, Chris. Lindsay Ertz from KSL TV. We're obviously local news, not necessarily sports, although we've got our sports folks here as well. But I'm wondering if you can elaborate a little bit on the welcome from the city. What's been unique about the welcome as opposed to your time in Arizona? And then maybe if you could speak to ticket sales. Has that been evidence to you that the community's really rallied here?
Absolutely, Lindsay. I think let's start with the ticketing question, because I think that it was really an early barometer of how well received the club was in the community. We had over 30,000 season ticket deposits when the team was announced. Chris Barney, our president of commercial at SCG, and all of the ticketing team has done an immaculate job of lining up the infrastructure to go out in the community and capitalize on that demand that was clearly demonstrated. I believe we'll be a top 20 NHL team in ticketing this year, which is an exceptional accomplishment for this organization and a testament to the hard work that Chris and his staff have done over the summer. Everywhere we go in the community, people, whether we're in an Uber and people can kind of pick up a phone conversation, the enthusiasm, the immediate want and desire to talk about the team has been evident. Restaurants, people will come up graciously and want to talk about the team and their enthusiasm, or tell us that they've bought tickets or merchandise, and that just makes you want to compete harder and work harder every single day to deliver the best possible product and experience for the people here in Utah. So it's been extraordinary. It's been humbling. I don't think any of us have ever been a part of anything like it, to be honest with you. And we want to pay it forward. We want to pay it back to the fans, for sure.
Can I just ask, is there anything that's been unique here versus maybe Arizona?
I mean, you can tell, like, spending any amount of time here, it's a great sports town. And the people really care, and the people notice, right? And so I think it's become evident to us that if we take the approach of doing honest, hard work and conducting ourselves the right way in the community, this community will embrace us, and they've already shown that. And that's the hockey culture, that's a hockey mentality, and I think it'll go hand in glove with the mindset of the people here in Utah.
Chris, Alex Silverman from Sports Business Journal back here. What have been some of the biggest challenges associated with sort of the compressed time frame that you guys have had for getting everything here up and running, whether it's operationally, logistically, hockey ops, business?
Yeah, Alex, I think it's exactly that. It's the compressed time frame, right? We've had to do, in some cases, several years of work in 5 months, and so some of that is all of it is really a testament to how hard everybody's leaned in and pulled on the rope together. But I think, it's inherently there's timelines for a lot of this stuff, whether it's naming the team, building the brand identity for the team, designing and releasing the jerseys. All of these things have timelines that are a year in the making, 2 years in the making, and we've had the circumstances we've had. We've made the most of them. We, I think, identified early on the things that we can get right and that we absolutely are in control of, and make sure we focus on those and deliver them. And then also accept that there's certain things that are going to take a longer runway just because the process requires that. And so being patient and continuing to work on them, but also managing our own expectations around, what we may want to do today that we have to, be more deliberate about and wait for in the future. So I think, I'm really proud of everybody throughout this organization, from ownership to, the people on working security in this arena. Everybody has done their part in 5 months to get us ready for this first day of training camp. And it's exciting, and it's at the rookie tournament the rookie face-off in LA, I think we all, from a hockey operations department, took a moment as our team took the ice for warm-up in that first game against San Jose, and we saw the jerseys on the ice for the first time to say, wow, this is unreal how far we've come in 5 months to stand up an NHL franchise and begin the process for preparing for our first season on the ice. You have to take stock of these things. It makes you want to work even harder and push even further through that opening night and into next season and the season after that. That we really have an opportunity here to build something special from the ground up, and very few people get that opportunity in their career, especially doing something that they love, to build something from the ground up. And we take that as a great responsibility. So.
Just curious if you have any updates on a potential streaming service for the games, and if so, will it be similar to Jazz Plus?
Yeah, so I would say, Cole, stay tuned for that. You're inside of an announcement on that front this week.
Christino Costa, SLC Sports Radio. It's a two-part question. Are you, from an aesthetic standpoint, with the logos and the colors and all the things that fall under that umbrella, has the organization, you and the organization, have you been surprised at the incredible interest that has been generated within the community? And from a grassroots standpoint, with the Jazz having junior Jazz and having grown that program throughout the state and into other states, does the Utah Hockey Club have similar ideas in terms of starting with the youth programs, not only here in Salt Lake, but across the state of Utah? Thank you.
Absolutely, and it's something we'll speak on in more detail here coming up soon, but we absolutely are launching a robust youth hockey initiative. But I also want to point out that there's a great history of hockey already in this state and in this community. The Grizzlies have led the charge as a professional organization for a number of years now. There's great history and legacy in what they've done at the grassroots level in this community. And so we want to work collaboratively with the other stakeholders in the community to not only enhance the programs that already exist, but then create new and additional programs to expand the reach and meet the demand that we think having an NHL team in Utah is ultimately going to create, and that we've already seen demonstrated at the grassroots level. But we're not going to take the position that we know best and that we'll take it from here. We respect and appreciate the work that's been done before we arrived, and we want to complement those efforts. We want to support those efforts, and obviously we want to use the resources that we have to introduce new opportunities, but not that are going to cannibalize the outstanding work that's already been done. So.
Going back to the rookie face-off, so we saw in Montreal how they packed out the Bell Center this year for their rookie tournament that they had out there, and they sold almost 20,000 tickets per game and that kind of thing. Being a rotating tournament, the rookie face-off, do you guys have any intentions of bringing it here within the next couple of years and maybe putting it at the Delta Center and selling out? We saw that, was it development camp that sold out, and people seem to have that appetite to watch the young guys play. Any talk of that? For sure, Brogan. I think there's definitely an expectation that we will host that tournament at some point. That's definitely
those are the table stakes for participating, and we understand that. We look forward to that opportunity. Where we'll host those games, I'm not sure. But based on what I've seen so far, I do have a lot of confidence that if the building was available and we hosted our games here, that it would draw a lot of attention and interest from our fans. At the end of the day, you know, as we've talked about, this is an ongoing process to get this to get our venue here at Delta Center up to maximum capacity for fans. So any opportunities that we can create to bring more fans into this building in the meantime, we're going to take full advantage of.
We have time for one more question.
Hey Chris, Alex Tumulip here from the Hockey News. Good to be here from Media Day. Good to see you again. I guess going back to what Brody was talking about with the rookie face-off, I mean, there were just so many players. I mean, Maverick, Owen, and Julian, and Noel, and a lot of players had standout performances during rookie camp. How excited are you for the potential that these prospects have, and knowing how deep this prospect pool is and the future of this franchise?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I mean, it's something we've touched on in this room before, which is that a lot of work has been done for a lot of years to build this organization that we were able to acquire and ultimately start an expansion franchise here in Utah with. And one of the things that got us excited about that possibility was the depth of talent and on the roster, in the prospect pipeline. And that we could continue to draft. So I think there's an immense amount of excitement about the potential for this franchise, and certainly a number of players really stood out at the rookie tournament to us. But more than anything else, to see the pride that they played in with that jersey on gave us great optimism for the future of this franchise as well. And it's on us to continue to develop those players and give them the resources to reach their full potential and be valuable members of the big club. And so that's what our focus will be. You know, they've got to put the work in, and we've got to put the work in too. And if we do that together, and we're honest and transparent with one another through that process, then I have absolute confidence that a number of those players will be on our NHL roster one day.